Amongst the shootings, the mass shootings that we've experienced in America and abroad, there was also another targeted act of violence. Actor and director Rob Reiner, as well as his wife Michelle Singer Reiner, were apparently found dead of an apparent knife attack. This was obviously shocking, especially on top of all the other violence that we had seen, and all the details that came out afterward make it just even more shocking, more difficult to take. But apparently, yesterday, the Los Angeles Fire Department was called to a home to provide medical aid. The victims were found there apparently already dead when the aid arrived, and it was identified as Rob and Michelle. Rob Reiner's son, Nick, is now in police custody in Los Angeles. And depending on which source you go to, there seems like more assurance or less that he was the individual that did it. There was talk about some, potentially violent member of the family. It seems like that's the direction this is going in, but I'm sure more information will come out a little bit later on. He apparently, Nick, struggled with substance abuse issues. And so this is just absolutely tragic. Again, like there's a lot of violence and a lot of crime, but Rob Reiner especially is a very well-known director and actor. Just speaking individually, some of my favorite films, Princess Bride and When Harry Met Sally, and I believe A Few Good Men, and he just was involved in so much stuff, and so nobody was expecting this. Obviously, very sad. I saw that a couple of the actors that he had worked with a ton, like Billy Crystal and stuff, apparently were like going to see the family and stuff like that. It's absolutely tragic. But, and JR, I question whether to even do this. I don't know if you talked about it on your show, but yeah.
I did.
So we're gonna do it. So Rob Reiner, he's an elderly man, his wife, beloved by many people. He was involved in Sandlot. I did not actually know that. Stand By Me as well. Jesus, he was just involved in so many classics. Tragically murdered. This is absolutely devastating for everybody that has worked with him, knows him and his wife, is a fan of his work. And it happens amidst all this other violence. And it really does feel like kind of an inflection point, a perfect storm of like, dear God, what is happening in the world right now? And traditionally, it's been the role of the president of the United States in times of chaos and uncertainty, fear, to step in and try to provide just a little bit of stability, a sense that things can go back to normal. Even presidents that you might not generally like, usually they can pass that bar. Joe Biden could be expected, to do that, let alone an Obama or something like that. This is what Donald Trump decided to say after finding out that Rob Reiner had been brutally murdered. Apparently, this is early word, his throat was cut. This is what the president of the United States decided to say. A very sad thing happened last night in Hollywood. Rob Reiner, a tortured and struggling but once very talented movie director and comedy star, has passed away together with his wife Michelle, reportedly due to the anger he caused others through his massive, unyielding, and incurable affliction with a mind-crippling disease known as Trump Derangement Syndrome, sometimes referred to as TDS. He was known to have driven people crazy by his raging obsession of President Donald J. Trump, with his obvious paranoia reaching new heights as the Trump administration surpassed all goals and expectations of greatness. And with the golden age of America upon us, perhaps like never before, may Rob and Michelle rest in peace. And the thing that I immediately want to say when I read that, unfortunately, I can't say on linear platforms, we would be bleeped out. I guess I'll stick to Quiet Piggy, although that doesn't even really seem to measure up to just how unrelentingly garbage this piece of crap is. Let alone all the golden age. You're literally going around on a tour telling people, you can't buy Christmas presents, whatever. It'll be fine, stop whining about it, okay? Real golden age that we're living in, as mass shootings are going on all over the place, absolute chaos. Golden age, definitely, setting all that aside. A guy and his wife were just murdered in their homes. And he jumps in with Trump Derangement Syndrome. Oh, Trump Derangement Syndrome is a real thing, okay? And he's where it started. It affects millions of Americans. Anyone who can read that and not think, I am done. Maybe it took until this late moment for me to be done with Donald Trump. But after that, oh my God, I'm not going down this road anymore. What the hell have we been doing? if this does not cause you to get off of that wagon, then yes, you have Trump derangement syndrome. And the idea that Rob Reiner is the person who is sick and obsessed when Donald Trump is the guy who runs to social media to talk about the guy who was just stabbed to death. Look, besides even just the swearing that I can't do, there's other stuff that I have to be careful how I will express. So I'm gonna zoom out a little bit and I'm going to say, at some point in a month, a year, 5 years, we all of us, if you're a goddamn commie all the way to a red hat wearing MAGA person, all of our lives will be made better when this guy is finally blessedly gone. You may not realize it, and it may hurt your feelings when it happens if you're a big MAGA person, but I swear to God, you are gonna be better off because you're not gonna have to defend this anymore. You're not gonna have to ignore this anymore. You won't have to live in a country where the leader of all of us, this is how he responds to a guy and his wife being stabbed to death in their home. We will all be better. It will be a massive weight off of our collective psychic shoulders, and I cannot wait for it to happen. Jared, what do you think?
He does feel like a weight on like the world. I mean, before it was just our country, but then once he took control and power, and then this MAGA party supports him in every aspect of it, and they all become little versions of him, then it's become like a weight on us. It's, when they talk about golden ages and the happiness factor, we already weren't a very, joyous country because of the way our politicians already do things. But this extra weight of the devastating nature of his viciousness, his hateful and bigoted ways, it's just who he is and it's what they've become. And now it's become partial policy. This type of stuff, remember, it was jokey when he wasn't even in office, and he was in office the first time. And every time there's a holiday, there's some post about how much he hates someone, but no one was, necessarily murdered in those particular moments. But in those moments, he was setting the stage. All of it is to prepare us to normalize this type of energy, this type of approach, and this type of a guy who will do this no matter what the circumstance is, because it always comes back to him. Now, when Charlie Kirk was killed, there was people who would post about things, people you've never heard of before. Some college-age student who works at the Dillards, who post about how much they don't care that he was killed, and then they sought them out and then got them fired or whatever kind of punishment they were looking to get from them. But the president of the United States can talk about how this guy, how much he dislikes him because he had a differing political opinion and worked and had some activist work to try and stop the guy who's destroying other people's lives from being in these positions of power. That's his focus right now. It's his focus right now in the middle of this, the economy that he's destroying, in the middle of the war he's trying to start down in Venezuela, in the middle of all these mass shootings that continue to go on that he doesn't give a damn about. He's a sociopath and he only cares about himself. And as you said, there's gonna be a weight lifted off this country when he's no longer here, and they're gonna be crying about the things that people will say and do in response. And they'll say, where'd all this vitriol come from? Mark today is 175 of the times that we've seen it.
Yeah, a long list of the reasons why we will be justified. My only regret for when that day comes is that I will forget to take that tweet and do a parody version for him. I'm not gonna remember to do it, unfortunately. And that makes me sad right now, but yeah, it's disgusting. It should be beneath us, and impeach him over it. Honestly, not because of the tweet necessarily, but because of the obvious brain damage that you would have to think of a thing like that, let alone to type it, let alone to press, return. Also, how is there nobody around him? Like, is he never near his wife? Is he never near kid? Does he have nobody to talk up to about any of this stuff? He's just alone, dwelling in toxic, disgusting, poisonous rage. And here's something a little bit positive, just for a second. It went too far for some in MAGA, because you do not. I don't know if you've gone on True Social, okay, and clicked on one of Donald Trump's posts. Nobody disagrees with him on there. Let's be clear about that. I mean, the vast majority of them aren't even people. It's all just bots with memes and stuff. But Kath says, I respect you so much, but this was heartless and uncalled for. And Kath, you respect him so much? This was heartless? Was this the first heartless thing that he did? Med Girl says, you could have just said RIP, love you, Mr. President, but none of the other stuff was needed. It's very sad we are living in the world we live in right now. No, we're not just passively living in it. He created it, okay? Or at the very least poured fuel on the fire. More than any other individual, he's the reason we live in this world. Lauren says, terrible post and I am a big Trump supporter, take it down. And so look, if there's anything that can make you feel even slightly less disgusting about this entire thing, this is more evidence that he does not even know what his own base wants anymore. He doesn't know what it should be. He doesn't know how to deliver it. That is why he's falling apart in the polls.